The Deep Space Monitoring Station on Luna Base 1 was quiet that night, as it had been for the past 50 years. Only the soft hum of computers and occasional beeping from the sensors filled the room. Tom Wilson sat at his station, sipping his coffee, his eyes scanning the dozens of holographic displays floating in front of him. Then something changed. At first, it was just a tiny blip on the outer rim of the solar system, near Pluto's orbit. Tom might have missed it if he hadn't been doing this job for the past 15 years. He straightened in his chair, setting down his coffee cup with a trembling hand. "Computer, enhance Sector 7, Quadrant 3, he commanded. The holographic display zoomed in, showing what looked like a scatter of stars. But Tom knew better. The movement patterns were too regular, too coordinated to be natural. He pressed the red button under his desk. Within minutes, Commander James Miller strode into the monitoring station, his military boots echoing against the metal floor. Despite being woken up at 3 a.m. Earth time, he looked completely alert, his gray eyes sharp and focused. "Show me," he ordered. Tom pulled up the enhanced images. "Sir, I've detected approximately 300 objects moving in formation at the edge of our solar system. Their movement patterns match exactly with File X7. Commander Miller's jaw tightened. File X7 was the classified document containing data about alien invasion patterns collected from the ruins of dead civilizations over the past 2 centuries. Very few people knew about its existence. "How long until they reach Mars' orbit?" Miller asked. "At their current speed, approximately 72 hours, sir." Miller nodded, walking over to the central command console. He pressed his palm against the biometric scanner, and a hidden panel slid open. Inside was a single red button, never pressed in the history of human space exploration. "Send the alert to all Earth Defense Command Centers," Miller ordered. "Authorization code, Phoenix Rising." Across Earth, deep underground bases that had been hidden for centuries began to wake up. In the Mariana Trench, a facility larger than Manhattan powered up its systems. Beneath the Antarctic ice, weapon platforms that had been waiting for this moment for generations hummed to life. On the far side of the moon, shipyards that had been invisible to alien surveillance revealed themselves, showing vast fleets of warships that humanity had been building in secret. In his office at EDC headquarters, Commander Miller looked at the ancient stone tablet mounted on his wall. It had been found in the ruins of an alien civilization, one of many that had fallen to the same enemy now approaching Earth. The message carved into it was simple but clear. They come as friends. They leave as conquerors. Prepare or perish. Humanity had chosen to prepare. Miller opened his computer and began typing the message that would be broadcast to every human settlement in the solar system. "This is not a drill. Operation Phoenix is now active. We have confirmed the presence of stellar collective vessels at the edge of our solar system. For 200 years, we have prepared for this moment. Every man, woman, and child knows their role. Our ancestors found the warnings left by those who fell before us, and we vowed not to share their fate." He paused, looking at the tactical display showing the approaching fleet. They were moving exactly as predicted, following the same invasion pattern they had used countless times before. But this time, things would be different. The enemy believes they will find a primitive civilization barely capable of space travel. That is what we wanted them to believe. Every piece of technology we have shown to the galaxy has been carefully chosen. Every satellite they have detected has been placed precisely. Every radio signal they have intercepted has been crafted to tell the story we wanted them to hear. Miller finished the message with the words that would mark the beginning of a new era in human history. "To all personnel, take your positions. Activate all defense systems. The time for hiding is over. Let us show them why humanity survived when others fell. Let us show them why Earth still stands. Operation Phoenix begins now." As the message went out, Miller watched the tactical displays light up with thousands of signals as humanity's true military might reveal itself. The greatest deception in human history was about to end, and the real battle for Earth's future was about to begin. The alien diplomatic vessel was beautiful, its silver hull gleaming in Earth's sunlight as it approached the International Space Station. To any observer, it would have looked like humanity's first contact with an advanced civilization. Commander Miller knew better. He stood in Earth Defense Command's meeting chamber, watching the live feed with 50 other military leaders from around the world. The chamber was built deep underground, its walls lined with screens showing real-time data from Earth's hidden defense grid. "They're following the exact script," said General Thompson, pointing at a historical document displayed on her tablet. "Just like they did with the Centauri system 80 years ago." The alien ship stopped at the predetermined meeting point. Right on schedule, a transmission came through on all frequencies. "People of Earth," the alien message began, their words automatically translated by Earth's computers. "We are representatives of the Stellar Collective, a peaceful alliance of advanced civilizations. We come to offer you protection and guidance." Miller stepped forward to the communication panel. This was the moment they had prepared for. He pressed a button, and suddenly the meeting chamber transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing a massive holographic display of the galaxy. "Welcome, representatives of the Stellar Collective," Miller responded, his voice calm and measured. "We've been expecting you." The alien transmission paused for a moment. This wasn't in their script. Miller continued, "Let me show you something interesting." He gestured, and thousands of points of light appeared in the holographic display. "These are all the worlds you've conquered in the past 500 years. Shall we discuss them one by one?" The alien ship's energy readings spiked, showing their surprise. Miller smiled. The deception was working perfectly. "For example," he said, zooming in on one star system, "this was the Centauri civilization. You offered them protection. 3 months later, your main fleet arrived. Within a week, their major cities were destroyed. Does this sound familiar?" "We don't understand what you're talking about," the alien voice replied, but there was a note of uncertainty now. "We come in peace." "No," Miller interrupted, "you come to conquer, just like you did to the Proxima worlds, and the Sirius colonies, and 1,000 other civilizations who trusted you." He pressed another button, and new data appeared on the screens. "We found their ruins. We found their warnings. For 200 years, we've studied every world you destroyed. We learned your tactics, your strategies, your weapons." The alien ship's engines powered up slightly, as if preparing to retreat. Miller had expected this too. "Don't worry," he said, "we're not going to attack you. Not yet. You see, we want you to deliver a message to your leaders." The holographic display changed again, showing Earth's solar system. But now it revealed what had been hidden: the massive defense platforms around every planet, the fleets of warships in strategic positions, the weapon systems that made Earth's entire solar system into a fortress. "Impossible," the alien voice said. "Your civilization is primitive. Your technology is basic. We've been watching you." Miller laughed. "You've been watching exactly what we wanted you to see. Every satellite you detected, every radio signal you intercepted, every space mission you observed. All of it was a show, designed specifically for you." He zoomed in on Earth, showing the true extent of human military power. Hidden bases emerged from under oceans, massive cities appeared beneath the polar ice, and orbital defense systems far beyond what the aliens thought possible revealed themselves. "This is humanity's message to the Stellar Collective," Miller declared. "We know who you are. We know what you've done, and we are ready for you." The alien ship remained silent for a long moment. Finally, a different voice came through, older and more authoritative. "This is impossible. No species has ever been warned." Miller finished for them. "No species ever had the chance to prepare. We did. Now, take our message back to your leaders. Tell them that Earth knows their true nature. Tell them that we're ready. And tell them that if they want this system, They'll have to fight an enemy that's been preparing for them for centuries. The alien ship began to turn, preparing to leave. Miller sent one final message. We'll be waiting, and we won't be as merciful as you pretend to be. As the diplomatic vessel retreated, Miller turned to his fellow leaders. And now, he said, we prepare for their real response. The first move had been made. The game that humanity had been preparing for over 2 centuries was finally beginning. 3 days after the diplomatic meeting, Earth's sensors detected exactly what Commander Miller had expected. The main stellar collective fleet was moving into position. Just as the ancient records had predicted, they weren't taking humanity's warning seriously. How many ships? Miller asked, standing in the Global Command Center. Over 2,000 vessels detected, sir, Tom replied from his station. They're forming a battle line just beyond Mars' orbit. Classic invasion formation, exactly like the records showed. Miller nodded, walking to the center of the room where a massive holographic display showed the enemy fleet's position. Around him, military commanders from every nation on Earth watched in silence. This was the moment they had trained for their entire lives. Begin the broadcast, Miller ordered. Let's give them their final warning. The most powerful transmission array ever built by human hands powered up. Hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean, it was capable of sending a message that would be impossible to ignore. The broadcast began, transmitted simultaneously in every known alien language. To the stellar collective fleet approaching Earth, Miller's voice boomed across space. We see you, all 2,147 of your ships. We know the name of every vessel, every captain, every weapon system. He paused, letting that sink in. On the tactical display, several alien ships showed signs of surprise, their energy signatures fluctuating. Let me demonstrate, Miller continued. The vessel at coordinates 274 to 3891 is the dreadnought Starbreaker, commanded by Admiral Rex. Your ship's main cannon has a small power fluctuation in its third cooling system. You've been meaning to fix it for the past 3 months. There was chaos in the alien fleet now. That information was supposed to be impossible for humans to know. The destroyer group at Sector 7 is led by Captain Thorne. 3 of your ships are running on backup power cores because the main ones were damaged in your conquest of the Proxima system 2 years ago. Miller switched to a private channel, speaking to his commanders. Launch detection drones. Let's show them what else we know. Thousands of tiny drones emerged from hidden bases across the solar system. Each one carried detailed scans of the alien fleet, projecting their findings for all to see. Every weakness, every battle scar, every secret modification, all displayed in perfect detail. We know everything about you. Miller's broadcast continued. We know how you destroyed the Centauri. We know how you crushed the Proxima Defense Forces. We know every tactic, every strategy, every trick you've used to conquer innocent worlds. The holographic display showed the alien fleet's formation shifting uncomfortably. But here's what you don't know, Miller said, his voice growing harder. For 200 years, we've been preparing specifically for you. Every weapon we've built, every defense we've created, every strategy we've developed, all designed to counter your specific methods of warfare. He pressed a button, and Earth's true defensive capabilities began to reveal themselves. Massive weapon platforms emerged from their hiding places behind the moon. Fleets of advanced warships decloaked near every major planet. Defense systems that made the alien fleet's weapons look primitive powered up across the solar system. This is your final warning, Miller declared. You have 2 hours to retreat beyond Pluto's orbit. If even one of your ships remains in our solar system after that time, we will consider it an act of war. And unlike the civilizations you've conquered before, we won't be fighting for survival. His voice became deadly serious. We'll be fighting for revenge. Revenge for every world you've destroyed, every species you've eliminated, every culture you've erased. Their warnings reached us, and we listened. Their sacrifices prepared us, and we learned. The tactical display showed confusion in the alien fleet. This wasn't how invasions were supposed to go. They were the ones who were supposed to give warnings, not receive them. 2 hours, Miller repeated. We're ready. We're waiting. The choice is yours. As the transmission ended, he turned to his commanders. Prepare all systems for combat. If they're as predictable as the records show, they're about to make a very big mistake. The countdown began. In 2 hours, humanity would either witness the first retreat of the Stellar Collective, or they would show the galaxy why Earth was the one world that should never have been threatened. The real test of humanity's preparations was about to begin. The 2-hour deadline passed. Just as Commander Miller had predicted, the Stellar Collective chose to demonstrate their power. A single alien battleship moved forward from their fleet, positioning itself near Mars. They're following the invasion handbook perfectly, Miller said, watching from Earth Defense Command. First, they'll attack a minor military target to show their strength. Right on cue, the alien battleship fired its main weapon at what appeared to be a small research station on Mars. The bright beam of energy streaked across space, powerful enough to vaporize a small city. Miller smiled. Activate Defense Pattern Alpha. The beam struck the research station and passed straight through it. The entire station flickered and vanished, revealed to be nothing more than a hologram. Instead, the beam hit a hidden energy shield that had been waiting for exactly this type of attack. Return fire, Miller ordered calmly. Show them what 200 years of preparation looks like. What happened next would be remembered in both human and alien history books forever. The shield didn't just block the alien weapon. It absorbed the energy, redirected it, and sent it back at the battleship with twice the power. The alien vessel's shields failed instantly. Impossible. The alien commander's transmission crackled through the command center. That technology shouldn't exist in your system. You're right, Miller replied. According to your records, we should be centuries away from this level of technology. Would you like to know why you were wrong? He nodded to his weapons officer. Across Mars, hidden bunkers opened, revealing row after row of defense platforms specifically designed to counter Stellar Collective technology. Each one was built using knowledge gained from studying the ruins of conquered civilizations. The alien battleship tried to retreat, but it was too late. A dozen different weapon systems locked onto it, each one exploiting a different weakness in its design. Within seconds, the mighty vessel was reduced to a floating hulk, disabled but not destroyed. That was just one research station. Miller broadcast to the entire alien fleet. Would you like to see what our actual military bases can do? The main alien fleet began to move forward, probably hoping to overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. It was exactly the response humanity had planned for. Activate the Soul Defense Grid, Miller commanded. Across the entire solar system, hidden installations came to life. The asteroid belt revealed itself to be an elaborate web of automated defense platforms. Jupiter's moons showed their true nature as fortress worlds. Even the surface of the sun itself hosted weapon systems powered by its enormous energy. Target their command ships, Miller ordered. Pattern Delta 7. Earth's weapons opened fire. But these weren't simple energy beams or missiles. Each shot was precisely calculated to exploit specific weaknesses in Stellar Collective ship design. Shields failed. Engines shut down. Weapon systems overloaded. In the command center, Tom looked up from his station. Sir, we've disabled 30% of their fleet without a single casualty on either side. Miller nodded. This wasn't about destruction. It was about sending a message. Each disabled ship was proof of humanity's preparation and knowledge. The alien fleet attempted to regroup, trying tactics that had worked against other civilizations, but each move they made was countered before they could complete it. It was like playing chess against someone who had spent centuries studying your every move. Send the second warning, Miller ordered. The transmission went out. As you can see, we weren't bluffing. Every weapon you have, we've studied. Every tactic you know, we've planned for. Every advantage you've used against others, we've turned into a weakness. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, faced with something they'd never encountered before. A civilization that was genuinely prepared for them. "You have 1 hour to collect your disabled ships and retreat," Miller continued. "If you choose to continue this fight, we will be forced to demonstrate our offensive capabilities. Trust me, you don't want that." As the message ended, Miller turned to his staff. "Prepare Phase 2, he ordered. "If they're foolish enough to stay, we'll show them why Earth was the wrong planet to threaten." The next hour would determine whether the Stellar Collective would learn from their mistake, or whether humanity would have to teach them an even harsher lesson. The Stellar Collective fleet remained in position after the 1-hour deadline, though they had managed to recover their disabled ships. Their pride wouldn't let them retreat, exactly as the ancient records had predicted. "They're preparing for a full assault," Tom reported from his station. "All their ships are moving into attack formation." Commander Miller stood at the center of Earth Defense Command, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. "It's time for Phase 2, he said. "Let's show them why they should have run while they had the chance." He pressed his hand against a scanner, activating Earth's most closely guarded secret. "Initiate Operation Phantom Reveal." Across the solar system, something incredible began to happen. The space around Earth seemed to ripple and shift, like a veil being lifted. What the aliens had been seeing wasn't just a deception. It was layers upon layers of carefully crafted illusions. "Send the transmission," Miller ordered. His voice echoed across space once again. "Stellar Collective, you believe you've seen Earth's defenses. You haven't even scratched the surface. Allow us to show you what 2 centuries of true preparation looks like." The first layer of deception fell away. The moon's far side split open, revealing it wasn't a natural satellite at all, but a massive shipyard and weapon platform. Thousands of advanced warships emerged, each one more powerful than anything the aliens had seen before. "Those ruins you found on other worlds," Miller continued. "We didn't just study them. We improved upon every piece of technology we discovered. But that's not the real surprise." The second layer of deception vanished. Earth's oceans began to move, revealing they were actually a complex network of nanomechanes, capable of forming any weapon or defense system needed. The planet's entire surface was one massive defense grid. The alien fleet's energy signatures showed their growing panic. This went beyond anything they had encountered in thousands of years of conquest. "But wait," Miller said, almost cheerfully. "There's more." The third and final layer of deception disappeared. The space between Earth and Mars flickered, and suddenly a vast artificial structure appeared, a ring-shaped installation larger than Earth itself, hidden by the most advanced cloaking technology ever created. 200 years ago, Miller explained, "We found warnings about you. But we also found something else, the combined knowledge of every civilization you destroyed. While you thought we were barely reaching for the stars, we were building this." The ring structure powered up, its energy readings off any scale the aliens possessed. It wasn't just a weapon. It was the combined achievement of 1,000 dead civilizations, rebuilt and perfected by human determination. "Your sensors are telling you this is impossible," Miller continued. "They're saying we couldn't have built all this in secret. That's because you never considered that a primitive species could fool your surveillance for centuries." In the command center, General Thompson handed Miller a data pad showing the alien fleet's desperate communications. They were finally beginning to understand the true scale of their mistake. "Everything you've seen of Earth has been carefully staged," Miller revealed. "Those primitive satellites, decoys, our clumsy space missions, theater, even our global conflicts were orchestrated to hide our unity and purpose." The alien fleet began to retreat, but Miller wasn't finished. The ring structure began to glow, demonstrating just a fraction of its power by creating a gravitational field that held their ships in place. "For 2 centuries, you've been watching a shadow play," Miller declared. "Every piece of technology you saw us develop was designed to be seen. The real Earth, the real humanity, has been preparing in ways you never imagined possible." He paused, letting the full weight of the revelation sink in. Now you face a choice. You can retreat and tell your leaders what you've discovered here, or you can stay and learn firsthand why 1,000 civilizations worth of knowledge, combined with human ingenuity, has created something even you should fear. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, facing the greatest military deception in galactic history. Earth wasn't just ready for them. It had been ready for generations, hiding its true nature behind a mask of primitive technology and political division. The next move belonged to the Stellar Collective, but for the first time in their long history of conquest, they faced an enemy that had outmaneuvered them before the battle even began. The Stellar Collective made their decision in the worst possible way. They panicked. Their fleet split into 3 groups, one trying to retreat, one preparing to fight, and one attempting to call for reinforcements. Commander Miller watched their chaotic movements with a slight smile. They're following the contingency plans from the Battle of Proxima, he noted, exactly as the records showed they would when faced with superior force. Sir, Tom called out, they're powering up their long-range communicators, attempting to contact their home systems. Perfect, Miller said. Initiate Operation Blackout. Across the solar system, hidden relay stations activated. These devices, based on technology found in the ruins of 7 different conquered civilizations, created a communications dead zone across the entire solar system. The alien fleet was now completely cut off from their empire. Launch the counter-offensive, Miller ordered. Show them how Earth really fights. The massive ring structure between Earth and Mars began to move, breaking into 12 separate segments. Each segment was actually a carrier platform, housing thousands of autonomous combat drones. These weren't simple machines. They were the result of 2 centuries of combining human AI technology with recovered alien tech. Deploy strike groups Alpha through Delta, Miller commanded. Target their command ships first. The space around the alien fleet came alive with activity. Earth's drones moved with impossible precision, each one knowing exactly where to hit for maximum effect. They had been programmed with complete knowledge of Stellar Collective ship designs, shield frequencies, and tactical patterns. Sir, their lead command ship is attempting a direct assault, General Thompson reported. Miller nodded, just like the records said. Execute Pattern Omega. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for centuries to come. As the alien command ship charged forward, the ring segments repositioned themselves. They created a gravity web that caught the massive vessel like a fish in a net. Send them our message, Miller ordered. His voice broadcasted across space once again. Your tactics are 200 years old to us. We've studied every battle you've ever fought, every strategy you've ever used. You're not fighting a primitive species. You're fighting an enemy that knows you better than you know yourselves. The alien fleet's second command ship tried to coordinate a rescue attempt. But Earth's forces were already 3 moves ahead. Drone swarms appeared from hidden positions in the asteroid belt, targeting exactly the weak points they had been programmed to find. In the command center, Tom's console lit up with new data. Sir, they're trying to activate their mass destruction weapons. Right on schedule, Miller said calmly. Execute Protocol Omega-7. Before the alien ships could power up their planet-killer weapons, targeted energy pulses from Earth's defense grid struck each vessel precisely where their ancient records showed the reactor cores would be. The weapons didn't explode. They simply went dead. A demonstration. Miller broadcast to the fleet. We know where every critical system on your ships is located. We know exactly how to disable them. You haven't launched a single attack we haven't planned for centuries ago. The remaining alien ships tried to regroup, but it was useless. Earth's forces had positioned themselves perfectly to counter every possible movement. It wasn't a battle anymore. It was a carefully choreographed dance, with humanity leading every step. Their main fleet is attempting emergency warp jumps, General Thompson reported. Activate the gravity anchors, Miller ordered. The ring segments pulsed with energy, creating a localized field that made faster-than-light travel impossible. The Stellar Collective fleet was trapped in normal space, facing an enemy that had studied their every weakness for generations. Final phase, Miller commanded. Show them what happens when you threaten Earth. The ring segments began to glow with building power. They weren't going to destroy the alien fleet. That would be too simple. Instead, they were about to demonstrate technology that combined the best defensive systems of a dozen fallen civilizations, all improved by human innovation. The Stellar Collective was about to learn why Earth had been marked in ancient warnings as the one world that should never be underestimated. 3 days after the battle, the leaders of the Stellar Collective stood in Earth's global command center. They weren't here as conquerors, but as defeated commanders facing humanity's terms. Their once mighty fleet floated powerless in Earth orbit, held in place by technology they barely understood. Commander Miller looked at these alien leaders, beings who had destroyed countless civilizations, now watching Earth's holographic displays with a mixture of fear and awe. "Let me show you something," Miller said, activating the main screen. "These are recordings from every world you've conquered in the past 500 years." The aliens watched in silence as scene after scene played out. Peaceful civilizations receiving their friendly visits, followed by brutal invasions and destruction. Each recording had been preserved by Earth's secret observation posts, gathering evidence for centuries. "We have transmitted these records to every spacefaring race in the galaxy," Miller announced. "Your empire of lies ends today." The lead alien, High Commander Vex, stepped forward. "What are your terms?" he asked, his translator making his voice sound hollow. Miller touched a control panel, and a new hologram appeared, a map of the galaxy with thousands of points of light. "These are all the worlds you've conquered. Your first task is to free them all. Every single one." "Impossible," another alien leader protested. "Our empire would collapse." "Your empire is already over," Miller stated firmly. "Right now, Earth's automated defense platforms are being installed around every world you've conquered. Any attempt to maintain control by force will be met with the same technology that defeated your fleet here." The aliens looked at each other in disbelief. The scale of human preparation was beyond anything they had imagined. "Second," Miller continued, "you will provide technology and resources to help these worlds rebuild. Everything you took from them will be returned." He pressed another button, and the hologram showed the ring structure that had helped defeat their fleet. "We've already begun manufacturing these defensive systems. They'll be given to any world that wants protection from future invasions." The alien leaders watched as the display showed construction ships already heading to distant stars, carrying humanity's advanced defense technology. Finally, Miller said, his voice growing harder, "Earth will now take responsibility for protecting developing civilizations. We've established a network of hidden observation posts throughout the galaxy. Any attempt at invasion or conquest will be met with immediate response." High Commander Vex looked at the human leader with new understanding. "You're not just defeating us," he said. "You're changing the entire order of the galaxy." Miller nodded. "For too long, advanced civilizations like yours have preyed on developing worlds. That ends today. Earth will ensure that every species has the chance to grow without fear of conquest." He walked to a large window overlooking Earth, the planet's true defense systems now visible from space. "We spent centuries preparing to defend ourselves, but we found something else in those ancient ruins, a responsibility to protect others." The alien leaders signed the terms of surrender one by one. As they did, reports came in from across the galaxy. Earth's defensive platforms were already deploying around threatened worlds. Ships carrying liberation forces were reaching conquered planets. The age of the Stellar Collective's tyranny was ending. "Remember this day," Miller told the defeated aliens. "Remember that Earth wasn't just ready for you. We were ready to reshape the galaxy itself." As the alien leaders were escorted out, Tom approached Miller with a new report. "Sir, we're receiving messages from dozens of worlds. They're asking for our protection." Miller smiled. "Send them our response. Earth stands ready to defend any peaceful civilization. The era of conquest is over. The era of protection has begun. He looked at the global display one last time, showing Earth's influence spreading across the stars. Humanity had not only survived, they had become the guardians they wished they'd had centuries ago when they first found those ancient warnings. Send one final message to the galaxy, Miller ordered. To any species thinking of conquest or invasion. Earth is watching. We're ready, and we will not allow what happened to others to happen again. The message went out across space, marking the beginning of a new age. Humanity had evolved from a seemingly primitive species to the guardians of galactic peace, all because they had found those warnings and chose to prepare. The stars would know peace at last, protected by the one world that had outthought its would-be conquerors.